What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. This video is going to be a ton of fun. It's basically a recap of what happened in San Diego Comic-Con 2016, and the theme of the video is going to be basically who won between Marvel and DC. I know the fanboys are going to love it. So I've done a lot of writing. I usually only write about a page-long script. This one was over 3 pages, so I'm going to try to move quickly and not get bogged down by all the information. But as you know, there was a ton of stuff talked about at San Diego, so I'm sure I'm not going to be able to cover everything. There's probably stuff I missed, and I'm absolutely sure that you'll let me know in the comment section if I do. Before actually we get into any rounds, I need to say just a couple things. I want to preface this. So first of all, it should be known that I didn't go to San Diego Comic-Con, okay? So the fact that some stuff was streamed and some stuff was not, and I had to do a little digging to find certain bits of information, it's obviously going to affect my opinion. I tried to kind of balance it out in my mind, but at the end of the day, and I'll get into this later, that's actually part of the reason why the winner came out the winner. Whether or not it was good or bad, you know, we'll get into all that later, but I want to say that. And I also want to say that the real winner of this fight was the fans. I mean, the fact that these two companies are playing off of each other, doing these certain things to try to one-up each other, to get more of our attention and our dollars when it comes to entertainment, makes a really great competition that ends up making really, really great content for us. I mean, some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, I could do entire videos on, like the single sentences that I'm going to go into in this video. The real winners are the fans, and that's awesome. So, you know, give yourselves a pat on the back. You won. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start this off with round one. Okay, round one is the TV, basically the Marvel TV shows versus the DC TV shows. So let's get into round one. So I'm going to start by talking about the Marvel TV shows, and this will start with the Netflix shows. Now, to my surprise, they actually put a lot of this stuff online for us to see. I don't know what the mentality was between the TV shows and the movies, but basically the Marvel Netflix shows, a lot of the stuff was put on the internet for us to see. I did an entire separate video on all of the Netflix stuff because it came out at a time when I was able to digest it and produce a video. I loved it all. It's really cool stuff. Love the Netflix universe. In my opinion, the Netflix Marvel universe is the best adaptations of comic books out there. You'll know that if you've seen in any other videos that I talk about this stuff. They're the one. Okay, so basically I'm not going to go too far into detail with it. If you want to, you can check out that video. I'll put a little annotation up for that. It was really cool. I'm excited for Luke Cage. I'm excited for Iron Fist. I'm excited for the Defenders. I mean, how could you not be? All of this stuff seems amazing. I will say that it feels a little far away. I mean, even though Luke Cage is going to be dropping in September, you know that you're not going to get the next one for X amount of months, probably at least 6 or 7. So it just feels kind of very far away. So that's the wrap on the Netflix shows. Now, the Ghost Rider coming to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This was a huge deal. People really, really liked this. I thought that it was very cool, but my opinion of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still has not changed. The show is just not that great. I'm a Marvel zombie, so I eat it up. I watch it all. I thought it was the newest season was much better than seasons prior, but overall the show's not that great. Now, it is interesting that they're going to bring in Ghost Rider and sort of go away from the Inhumans plot that they had been working on. And if you've ever seen my most popular video, which is the theory I have about Kevin Feige bringing the X-Men and Marvel Cinematic Universes together, you will know that part of the reason I believe that is the taking of the Inhumans off of the slate. So the fact that they're going away from the Inhumans a little bit could lend itself to the theory that I have, that basically Fox and Marvel are in talks. Now, speaking of Fox and Marvel, the next thing I want to talk about is the Legion show that is going to be coming on FX. Now, the trailer for this is online. I'll put a link for it in the description below. But this trailer blew my mind. This thing looks amazing, and yet, as compared to some of the other trailers that were released from Comic-Con, it has next to no views. Also, the panel itself didn't have a Q&A section at all. So they showed this awesome thing, they talked for a little bit, but no Q&A, which I find very curious and also could possibly lead to the fact that there are these talks happening behind the scenes, and it's just like a bad timing sort of thing. Marvel and Fox can't really announce these things because they're still being worked on. There's also, of course, the X-Men TV show, which is going to have like a younger group of X-Men, and I know very little about the show. I don't think they did a panel at all. It was actually announced the week before Comic-Con, and just a lot of mystery there. Not really sure what's going on, and I don't think that there was anything said at San Diego about it. Please let me know if I'm wrong, because I didn't find anything out there, but I did a ton of research. Like I said, I was jumping all around. Okay, now let's go to the DC side of things in round one when it comes to television. So this really all has to do with the CW DC universe. Now the CW DC universe is right behind the Netflix universe as far as the nerdy goodness that it provides. It's really, really great. If you've seen any of my other videos, I always talk about it. I praise it. It's awesome. The adaptations are great. It's super deep cut nerdy, and I love it. I love the Berlanti universe, okay? So they showed, of course, this trailer for the newest season of Arrow. Very, very dark, going back to its roots. Hopefully we get back to that goodness that was in season 2, and not so soap opera, mystical arts all over the place that we had in season 4, or whatever the most recent season is. I'm honestly losing track when it comes to Arrow. But it's really cool to see them go back to their roots. I am excited for the Watchdog and Vigilante characters and this whole dynamic with Oliver being mayor and the DA. I think it's really good. The trailer was really sweet. I think that it's going to be awesome. Now we have to kind of talk about the Supergirl panel, which I think completely dropped the ball. I mean, they didn't show footage. They didn't talk about stories at all. They brought out their good-looking actors, talked about their chemistry together. But the overall impression that I found online was that the Supergirl panel left a lot to be desired, to say the least. So kind of a misstep there. But then they talk about Legends of Tomorrow, which totally blew my mind. They're doing the Justice Society versus the Legion of Doom. Their Legion of Doom is going to have Damien Darhk, who I guess isn't dead after Oliver, kills him, which is, kind of weird. It could have something to do with Flashpoint. More on that later. But they have Damien Darhk, they have Zoom, and they have Malcolm Merlyn being the Legion of Doom. And you're going to have the Justice Society? I mean, that's ridiculous. That's so deep cut. It's so awesome. I'm super pumped about that. I loved Legends the first season. I thought it was amazing from a story perspective, from a production perspective. If you have not yet, go watch at least the first episode. The opening action sequence was just something out of a movie. It's crazy what they're able to do on TV these days, and especially with that nerdy goodness flavor dripping all over it. Super awesome stuff. This brings us to the Flash season 3. Flash season 3. Flashpoint. The timeline totally collapsing upon itself. I mean, watch the trailer. It was amazing. I got so pumped. Everything that they put in there, the way they cut it together, the themes, Thrawn getting Barry's goat, the way that should always have been. I mean, it's so interesting to me, and I'm super pumped for that season. I mean, what they are doing with the CW universe is super ambitious. It just seems awesome. I'm super jacked up about having 4 nights of the week where you're going to be in this world within this conjoined universe. Really crazy stuff. Feels like comics. It's sweet. So let's get to the card, okay? Who won round 1? Now, despite the fact that the Netflix stuff was completely dope, a lot of good stuff there, and the fact that they put a lot of it online, which I thought was really brilliant, I have to give the slight edge to DC television. Oh, and we're not going to talk about Gotham because that show's absolute crap. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Let me know in the comments, and I may or may not tell you why you're wrong, because I don't even like to think about that show. But getting back to the point, I have to give the slight edge to the DC shows. It just seems like, whoa, Legion was awesome, but they're not showing you anything. This new X-Men show seems dope, but they're not showing you anything. And I think that there's something to be said for the fact that DC owns all of their properties, right? I mean, now that Jeff Johns is in there doing his thing, and it's obvious the changes that have happened in the past couple months, right? I mean, everybody can see it, from the comics to the TV shows to the movies. They're having a more open approach, and I have to give the slight edge in round one to DC television. It's just comic themes and stories. I mean, Legion of Doom, Flashpoint. I mean, we're going there. Marv Wolfman characters, for God's sake. This is crazy. So I have to give round one to DC. All right, so let's get to round two, which is going to be all about the cinematic universes, the MCU versus the DCFU, which, by the way, I coined that phrase, and I just think it's hilarious. My friend Lee Shadle told me online that, like, he loves it and that he's going to give me credit for it, because I guess I was using it. I didn't even know. But I mean, how hilarious is that? DCFU, which is, anyways, getting back to the point. Let's get into round two. So we're going to start with Marvel, but here's what's crazy. I had to dig super deep to find out all the information, to find out all the stuff that was shown, and a lot of it I didn't get to see. Now we're going to talk about this in the third part of the video. As far as, exclusivity versus openness, what was right or what was wrong. But the simple fact of the matter was, it hurt Marvel because you didn't get to see a lot of this stuff. I mean, yeah, they put the pictures out of the World War Hulk armor, dope. They put out, the Doc Strange trailer, but at the end of the day, a lot of the goodness that was there just for the fans. Now, there are two ways to take that, but the bottom line is I had to dig pretty deep to find out exactly what was going on with the MCU. So let's start with Thor Ragnarok. I mean, it sounds amazing. From what I've heard, they show awesome scenes, almost near finished CGI, where the Hulk is literally leaping at Surtur. So, like, it's straight up Kirby Ragnarok. Like, Surtur's there. This is going to be pretty ridiculous. I'm super pumped to see it. Of course, you're going to be getting World War Hulk kind of twisted in there too, with the armor, with the gladiator type thing. I mean, it seems really, really cool. I'm jacked up about it. There's also the Contest of Champions element with the Collector not the Collector, but the Grandmaster, who will be played by Jeff Goldblum. So, like, yeah, really, really crazy. We are doing an amalgam of World War Hulk, Ragnarok, and Contest of Champions. I mean, that sounds like a nerdy wet dream. That's the perfect combination. That's super dope. So that was really cool. Then we get to Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Apparently they showed some footage of them getting ready to fight this massive alien. There was, the obvious Peter Quill humor in there, the teams together. It's going to be familiar. It feels like it's been so long since we've seen Guardians, but Guardians really blew me away. It's in my top 5 of the MCU films. So, of course, I'm super jacked up to see what they do in number 2, and it seems like the panel was really cool. They have the Mantis character coming in. They announced who Star-Lord's father is, and it's Ego, the Living Planet. I believe Kurt Russell is playing him, and that's just super funny. So his father is a planet, which is ridiculous, but, seems just right up that Guardian of the Galaxy alley. It's right within the flavor of there. It's very James Gunn, so I'm totally down with it. I think that movie's going to be awesome. Then they, of course, had Doctor Strange. The trailer was mind-bending and shows all these just thematic things between good and evil and perception and what is strength and all these different things. I mean, I've been super excited. Before any of the comic book movies came out this year, I was most excited for Doctor Strange. And that has not changed at all. I'm super pumped for it. And they didn't have to tell us or show us too much. We're already on board. I thought that was awesome. Then came the Spider-Man Homecoming panel. Now, from everything I heard about this panel, it was just a blast. And by the way, this is a totally Marvel film. I know there was like some confusion going into it on whether or not it's like a Sony film, is it a Marvel film, what's going on? Nah, it's straight MCU, bro. Like, Sony basically saw the success that Marvel had and handed them everything. Now, they still get cash, and it's all like contractual, basically, you know, revenue stuff, but this is basically an MCU film. Like, and I'll give you an example. The panel started by like this slideshow where they said like every hero has a beginning, and then it showed basically high school pictures of all the MCU characters, right? Like Thor in high school, Iron Man in high school, all these different things, which is really funny and adds into that like John Hughes flavor that everybody's claiming this movie's going to have. Seems really, really cool. And they, of course, showed the Vulture. They confirmed what we all kind of already knew, that our boy Michael Keaton will be playing the Vulture. Apparently his armor looks really cool and is from Shatari tech that he found after the Battle of New York. Very cool, tying it all together. They showed some really humorous scenes where like Spider-Man he has to keep coming up with excuses as to why he's leaving and becoming Spider-Man and doing stuff and then coming back. It's supposed to be just very humorous, coming of age story. And I love Tom Holland's portrayal of Peter Parker, so I'm totally on board. Sounds amazing, right? There was a few other things that happened at panels. There was the announcement of Brie Larson being confirmed as Carol Danvers, or Captain Marvel, which is super cool. I mean, she's super high quality actress. She's super talented. It's crazy that they're getting this kind of talent to make these movies. I mean, this is a genre that is here to stay. And speaking of talent, Ryan Coogler came up on stage talking about Black Panther. I mean, that movie, oh my God, I'm super jacked up for Black Panther. It seems like it's going to be awesome. He said something to the crowd. He pointed out into the crowd and he said, last year, I was there. I was back there with you guys. And within a year's time, now I am up here. Dreams do come true. Like, just kind of giving back. It played to the crowd. The crowd got jacked up about it. Seems like it was really, really cool stuff. So that's basically all I got to talk about when it comes to the Marvel stuff. Keep in mind, I had to do some deep digging to figure all of this stuff out. So I'm sure I missed some stuff. Please let me know in the comments what else happened. And if there's something that I can find online to watch it, not just to do videos, but because I want to see this stuff. I'm a fan, you know what I mean? Like, I like this stuff, so let me know. Now, let's go to the DCFU, right? What did these guys bring to the table? It's round two. Marvel, boom, 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 throwing shots. Now it's DC's turn. What did they bring to the table? Are they rope-a-doping? What's going on? So, I want to start with the Justice League trailer. I mean, what? A Justice League trailer? I mean, they were ready. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And the thing that really blows me away is they have that scene with Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen that we all heard about at the London set visits, right? So, I mean, yeah, that's obvious. Why not take that, put it into a trailer? And the scene played wonderfully. I thought it was perfect. I really like Ezra Miller's interpretation of Barry. It's very different than Grant Gustin's, and Grant is Barry Allen, in my opinion. But like, this could be a cool little like Earth 2 or Earth 3 or maybe Earth 6 or something version of Barry. And he brings this levity, this really needed levity to this film. The trailer was dope. Jason Momoa steals it, in my opinion, as Aquaman. Total badass, coming out, drinking, sobering up by having waves crash all over him, jacking Batman up against the wall. He brings fish from the sea to hungry fishermen. I was like, wow, that's really cool. Cyborg looked pretty dope. We saw Flash in costume. So the trailer obviously had me going nerd boner style like you wouldn't believe. It was really, really great. So they came to play with that trailer. Then, of course, they had a Suicide Squad panel, and you know, there was some cool stuff said about the Suicide Squad movie, and their chemistry is really cool. A lot of funny stuff about Jared Leto being the Method Joker, because he would literally play tricks on actors and actresses that he wasn't even in scenes with. Apparently, Amanda Waller, the actress that plays Amanda Waller, not a fan of method actor Jared Leto messing with her, which is just really like hilarious to me. It's super funny that he came in with this approach, and I think that it's really going to make the film, like it's really going to bring that vibe to it. But, I mean, let's be honest, their marketing, they've been cranking this out for months. We've seen a ton of the film already, so nothing really blew me away there. But still, good stuff, good panel, nice information, and we'll move on from there. I want to briefly talk about the director's panel because there was some really cool stuff said. Basically, James Wan talks about Aquaman and talks about how, with his basic background in horror filmmaking, that it's like a perfect fit for him to do Aquaman, because in the depths of the sea, that's such a visual and horrifying place with like weird sea creatures and, you know, like light bulby translucent skin monsters and all this craziness, plus stuff that, you know, is probably imaginative as well. But yeah, that was really cool. Jeff Johns said this really interesting thing about Ezra Miller, or rather Barry Allen, the Flash, about how he's really lonely. Because if you think about it, if he's like snapping and going at super speed and he doesn't really hear sound waves or sound or, you know, vibrations in general are affecting him differently, it would appear as though he's just running around the world with a bunch of mannequin people, right? Just a bunch of statues, which is like really crazy. You know, leave it to Jeff Johns to bring in some real insightful knowledge and just drop the mic with that. I thought that was really cool. Affleck was there because he's, of course, directing the solo Batman film. The director of The Flash was there talking about, you know, the vibes that he's going to do in that movie. It all seemed really, really cool. So that was the director's thing. Pretty cool information. Now, we're going to move on to the Wonder Woman panel and trailer. And I saved the best for last, in my opinion, because I literally had a tear come out and roll down my face because this trailer blew me away. And in my opinion, Marvel and DC at this point, neck and neck, but then this trailer, boom, knockout. DC crack Marvel in the face and knock them out cold and wins San Diego Comic-Con on Wonder Woman. Super poetic, by the way, but let's get into this Wonder Woman trailer. I mean, the thing that I love about it is its mythology, the music, the sets, just the way that they build this trailer and everything that's being said. The fact that the Amazons were made to protect man, but basically left because they don't think men are worth it, or the world of men, which is just our world, they don't think it's worth it. Diana, despite us not being worthy, comes in to give us this power, this protection, our female savior. And I'll do future videos on this because I really love Wonder Woman as a character, not just for her being like a hyper feminist character, but in my opinion being like the right version of feminist. She, in my opinion, is like a perfect role model for young women these days to be looking up to, and to be a warrior woman and come in and, like, you know, kick some serious ass and be awesome. And speaking of kicking serious ass, Diana goes off in this trailer. I mean, that way they shot her action sequences, I was like mind blown. The Amazons in general, they look beastly. They look, you know, super tall, as they should be. And they're fighting the Germans on Themyscira. I mean, this totally blew me away. The color palettes, everything about the Wonder Woman trailer blew my mind. They know exactly what they're doing. They know they've got that gem. And I love Chris Pine. Chris Pine was perfect for Steve Trevor. The only thing that sucks is that because it's in World War I, we can count on him not being in any other future films, which totally sucks because he's great. Their chemistry together is going to be really awesome. And it really like epitomizes Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor really epitomize what the creator of Wonder Woman, his philosophies when it comes to a relationship between a man and a woman. Interesting stuff, kind of controversial. Maybe we'll talk about it sometime later. But that's basically what I think happened in round two. You had a lot of goodness going both ways, but then that knockout, that Wonder Woman trailer, boom, knocking them out, winning the fight, winning San Diego Comic-Con 2016. DC Films. So there you have it. I really do believe that DC won this competition. However, we have to put a huge asterisk next to this victory, and there's a couple different reasons why. Mainly, I don't think Marvel really came to play. And what I mean by that is I don't think Disney or Marvel are really invested in making San Diego Comic-Con a huge PR stop on their basically circulation of information. This is because they have D23. They've slowly been pulling out. They might not even be at San Diego Comic-Con next year, or at least not in Hall H. And I just find that maybe Disney doesn't feel as though they need to use San Diego Comic-Con in the way that they had in the past. I mean, they have done something super unprecedented with their cinematic universe, and they're almost a victim of their own success in this regard because they don't really need to do this kind of stuff. We're going to go see these movies anyways. We're invested. We're like 10 movies deep. We're invested. These characters, this world, it makes sense. It's cohesive. It's copacetic. It's really kind of crazy. So it's kind of like a thing where I don't think Marvel really cared as much. And on top of that, and I kind of talked about this briefly earlier, but I feel as though there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that kind of holds them away from being able to make big announcements or to give us more information publicly about certain things, like the whole Fox Marvel thing. I'm a stout believer that this is happening. I think it's going to be coming out within the year or maybe the next year as an announcement, and it makes a lot of sense for a number of different reasons, but it would be a reason as to why they weren't giving us the amount of information that DC gave us. There is something to be said for the fact that Warner Brothers and DC owns all of their properties, so they can do all of these things. And obviously Jeff Johns is there making big moves. It's obvious, you can see the difference. Now, when it comes to DC films, I believe that they quite honestly cheated. And I was having a conversation with some friends, and we were talking about this sort of thing because I wanted to get their opinions on it. And it would just seems that there's two ways to look at it. Marvel did a good thing by giving exclusive stuff to people who actually went to San Diego. So while it's not like a huge need for them to be all PR crazy and get the buzz out there, they at least gave good stuff to the people who were at the con. DC, however, released a lot of their stuff all over the internet. They put it out there for everyone to see. Now, what is interesting is it totally worked, because that's what everybody's talking about. Everybody's talking about the Wonder Woman trailer, the Justice League trailer, and DC stuff in general, okay? So it totally worked, but at the same time, it's kind of counterintuitive to the way that you would think San Diego Comic-Con is supposed to work. So very, very interesting here, but the bottom line is this came out of necessity because of how bad Batman v Superman did, and because of how invested Warner Brothers is in the future of their cinematic universe. They needed to do this. Marvel does not. They're totally chilling. They're totally fine. So they don't need to do any of this sort of stuff. So what you have here are two companies that are just in different phases. They are at different places when it comes to their TV and their cinematic slates. So basically, you give the win to DC, right? That's all everybody's talking about right now is the DC stuff, but with a huge asterisk on it. And as I said before, the real winner is the fans, because all of this stuff looks great and they're listening to us in this new dynamic age of media. They are listening to us. They are showing us stuff early, being open about it, because they want to get our reactions and they want to tailor it to us. So it's a really, really awesome time to be a nerdy fan and to be like bringing in all this stuff. But let me know in the comment section, guys. Do you agree with me? Do you agree that DC won? Do you agree that they cheated? Or do you think Marvel won? Am I off base? Did I miss something? Let me know. I want to talk about this stuff with you guys. This is part of the fun. This is basically just the awesomest part of San Diego, is like talking about what was the best, what happened, what disappointed, and all that sort of stuff. So let me know in the comment section below how you're feeling about it. Now let's check that nerd card. And just because this is DC and Marvel related, the question is going to be, what is the name of the character that is the essential Marvel ripoff to Superman? And I'm talking about beam weapons coming out of the eyes, flying, a cape, coming from a planet that is destroyed. It is literally Marvel's version of Superman. What is the name of that character? By the way, I love that character, especially his origin story. Very, very trippy, very, very cool stuff. Okay, so answer the question in the comment section below. Like the video if you thought it was awesome. Subscribe to the channel. We've got a bunch of cool videos coming out. I'm going to start to do some collaborations with other people. I'm going to start to review comics, hopefully from some comic stores, getting involved in the area. Tons of cool stuff on the way, so make sure you subscribe to get all of that stuff. As always, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. See ya!